Arcade Heroes.
This video has been brought to you by Wallop. Greetings, Arcade Heroes. Welcome to the latest bit of news from the world of arcades and pinball, but obviously it's more pinball because it's a new pinball game, and as you can see clearly from this as well as the title before you clicked, Venom is now a pinball machine. Now, of course, this is not the first time that Stern Pinball has undertaken a Marvel property nor a Spider-Man property. They released Spider-Man back in, I think it was 2007, somewhere around there. They also did some other editions of that, like 2007 was before they did the Pro Premium LE sort of thing. That was more 2009 and onward. But they did come back to Spider-Man at more than one point, as I recall. I can't remember precisely. I should have looked it up before I started filming. But I want to say there was like a Vault edition and a Black edition, which I think was connected to Spider-Man 3, the one with Tobey Maguire that had Venom in it, but most people didn't like it. Actually, I've never seen that. I saw the first two Spider-Man films with Tobey Maguire, but for some reason I just missed out, and I heard it wasn't good, so I just never decided to spend the time on it. But anyways, if you're into the comics and if you're into the character, then this is the game that will probably fit your fancy. I haven't read a Venom comic. I've never owned one, but I've read them before, but it's been a very, very long time, probably the 90s, so I don't know who some of these characters are. I wasn't aware that Gwen Stacy had been a host to that, nor Wolverine. I do remember Carnage, but playing this without audio because, of course, I'll get dinged on the copyright crap, but you can find this trailer on YouTube easily through Stern's channel. So you get to choose your host, and that will have different things. Let's go back here. So when Stern's done this many times over the years, where depending on what you pick, it changes your bonuses and such. As you can see here, with where it's showing Gwen Stacy, this is what it would show you when you have the character selected, and these are the bonuses that it would get. Now, of course, if you're new to pinball and this looks all super confusing to you, well, unfortunately, that's how it goes, and that's been the complaint that I've had with how pinball earns or doesn't earn in a lot of situations and locations, is just because it is a bit overwhelming to somebody who's new. But if you're really into it, then the stuff will make sense. And of course, a lot of this is within the context of the game and rules itself, with doppelgangers and infected, defeated, and all that. But anyways, let's continue on here. So you got this interesting ball lock mechanism that fills up with, looks like could fit 3, maybe 4 balls. And then once you unlock that for a multi-ball, then those all spell out on the playfield and you get to play them. It has them on both sides, looks like. And a bell tower, that's a nice touch. I also like the Carnage toy, the kind of the Newton, as they call it, the Newton ball toy. And here's the premium. It's going to cost you more money, but it comes with these extra bells and whistles, such as this motorized ramp. I was reading on the features matrix that this has 4 ramps, whereas the Pro only has 2, and so that makes it, well, that's going to give it a different feel as to how it plays and how everything goes. And of course, that mechanism right there. Let's go back here and maybe slow things down. So I do have to apologize, since I have not read the Venom comic in a very long time. I cannot recall the names of anyone more than, like, I know Eddie Brock and Venom himself, as well as the Carnage there, but I can't remember what this particular mutant monstrosity is there. But this mechanism is pretty cool. I mean, it's the first time that I can recall seeing something quite like this, with these they're not drop targets exactly, but they're hanging targets that you can hit, and so that's a cool little thing. Generally speaking, when there's been a single target that goes out on the playfield, it's just one instead of three. Again, as I recall, I'm not as much an expert on pinball as I am on arcade machines, but I've seen quite a few pinball machines over the years as I try and cover every single one that comes along. And I also like these ramps where the ball goes up and to a different level. Jurassic Park had that, and I know some others have done it too, but haven't seen it used quite as much, especially as you see in the premium model here. And of course, it being mechanized and having that other mechanized ramp there with a hidden target, that's a cool touch. The artwork on this playfield, it's done by an artist known as Zombie Yeti, and he's pretty well known. Sorry, I should have had this running at 1080p to begin with. Obviously he does very high quality professional grade artwork here, and so to me it looks great. Maybe you could say it's too busy, but this is obviously not for noob casuals anyways. And when you've got a property like a comic book that has a long history, you're going to want to try and cover all your bases anyways, so I don't really see a problem there. But overall, looks fun. It's always hard to say from watching a video compared to playing it in person and getting the sounds and the rules and the flow of the game and getting all that feel. I was trying to find an email that Stern had sent out, or maybe I saw it on Pinside, where they were talking about the staggered releases, and I can't remember which model is supposed to launch first. Now, over at Stern's website, you can already take a look at some basic stuff on the Pro, Premium, and Limited Edition models. I want to say the LE is the first one that's going to be rolling off the production line. They're only making 1,000 of them. I think you can only order them through Stern's Insider All Access thing, so you have to sign up for that, and I think there's a certain amount you pay for that access, but as it mentions, limited to 1,000 games globally. Highly collectible limited edition model includes a Venom vs. Carnage inspired full-colored mirrored back glass, full-color high-definition reflective foil decal cabinet artwork. Jeez, that's a mouthful. Custom high-gloss Venom inspired goo powder coated pinball armor, a custom designer autograph bottom arc, inside art blades, upgraded audio system, anti-reflection pinball playfield glass, shaker motor, a sequentially numbered plaque, and a certificate of authenticity signed by Stern President and CEO Seth Davis. Used to be signed by Gary Stern, but he since stepped down from that role, and so it goes to the CEO. Yeah, let's click on Premium here. Now, one kind of annoying thing about Stern's website is when you want to go to the images themselves, like if you open image a new tab, it just opens the same thing. It doesn't matter which photo you click on. It'll just keep opening the same one, and so I guess they did that for security, but press they'll usually send, and distributors, they'll send out some Dropbox links, box links here with other photos that you can use that show the playfield and all that. But as always, the premiums are generally going to be better value than your pros. Pros are more sensible for locations, however, at least in my experience, what I have found is that having a premium here versus a pro doesn't make any difference in the earnings, or if there is any difference, it's minuscule. It's not worth the additional cost that you have to pay on these, and I think I'd skipped it, but the MSRP for the pro models said $6,999 plus freight and tax and all that. But then the premiums, it's almost $3,000 more, $2,000 more, $9,699, and then the LEs are probably in the $12,999 range there. But the way that the premiums and the limited editions play should be exactly the same. Just the difference are those things that I mentioned just a moment ago. It's more aesthetic stuff and collectability, and that's also part of the reason why they charge you more. But let's see. There's also a rule set, so if you just scroll down here, they have some nice little things that you can use to learn more about the machine itself. And so the rule set, this one is deep enough that they have a 31-page guide here where you figure out, you select your host, and there's characters the player can also choose as a host once they're unlocked. So Venomize, Hulk, Wolverine, and Captain America. Talks about the skill shots and the mini modes, the grid bonus, the flamethrower, that's nice. Mayhem multi-ball with the 2 ball locks, the Carnage captive ball, Carnage multi-ball, Bloodlust, Doppelganger, Rampage. So lots of stuff looks like they packed into this. Here's the feature matrix. Generally, when I was selling when I was selling arcade equipment, which included pinball machines, I always got people asking for, what's the difference between the models. So as this mentions, it gets into what's included there. You want to defeat Carnage and his legion of followers to stop Null from being awakened and destroying the world. I don't remember who Null is. I'm assuming it's a big, bad, evil dude. And so, choose your host, change the game. And it has featuring music from Grammy Award-winning musician Mark Tremonti. Cool. And it mentions all that stuff that I kind of got into here. But yeah, as I was saying, when I was selling games, it was always kind of a pain when these would come out because you would instantly get calls. Like, you would always get calls the day that any pinball machine was released, but people already wanted to know what the differences were. But Stern, unless you were really, really good friends with somebody there, you never found out anything in advance, and so you knew things just the same as anybody else. And so it was nice when they started putting out these feature matrices, but you would have to jump to this and start looking through it, but there's just so much there that sometimes it's a little hard to tell what the differences are. But, from what you can see here, almost all of the features are the same across all 3 games. It's really just the top few here where they're not all 3 checked off. And so, let's see. Choose your host, change the playfield shots in the game. Physically change depending on which character you choose to bond to Venom. So that would be with the mechanisms going on there. So that's cool. I like that idea. Life Foundation shot that changes between 3 different pathways, 180 loop stop and hold U-turn. So that's only premium. Same thing with the Argo Lab shot that changes between 4 different pathways. I like this concept. It's pretty cool because that creates replay value. I mean, it's already one thing with pinball that I've often heard from people or collectors, where one reason why they like having a pinball machine at their house as opposed to a video game is because every single time you play it's already different, and this just increases the combinations of how a game can play every time, and so that's pretty neat. And I also think this is similar in some ways to Godzilla, the Godzilla premium ones. Correct me if I'm wrong there, but as I recall, Godzilla kind of did that too with its tower shots. And so I guess the Life Foundation might be that one that's that larger ramp that moves up and down. And then, of course, as it mentions, the 4 ramps versus the 2, they all have the bidirectional U-loop. Surprise attack doppelganger mechanism that swings in action. Okay, so that thing that's Spider-Man that looks more like a spider is called the doppelganger. Okay, got it. And then custom 3D doppelganger sculpture. And then the artwork's always different between models. 6 pinballs. So, it's not the most that's ever been in a game, but it's not the least either. And a good 3-channel stereo sound system with an amp and all that. So, yeah, that pretty much covers Venom. What do you think? Is this one that you want to grab for your home game room, or if you operate an arcade like myself, would you think this would do well? I mean, I have to say, I do think it would do all right. I would just go with the Pro one, as much as I like all the features of the Premium. Like I said, unfortunately, just from a cost perspective versus earnings, or cost versus ROI, I've never seen anything that way outperforms a model with simpler features on it. And so, and then of course, most of the collectors out there, if you're already into this and you can easily sell off a game to grab something new, then you'll usually go for a premium or a limited edition as well. But I mean, I could probably be tempted to sell off my Guardians of the Galaxy and get a Venom Pro. Or if I was able to get enough money, a premium, but again, that would be kind of crazy. As I've said before, unfortunately, by how I've calculated it, pinball seems to take 8 to 10 years to pay itself off, unless, of course, you sell it before that. And so that's the sad reality of it. But this one, to me, does look pretty cool, and so it'd be interesting to see if it performs any better than some out there. I've heard that Godzilla and Cactus Canyon, the remake, have been doing exceptionally well, like a lot better than the average on most pins. Like most pins just kind of seem to do the same regardless of what their theme is, but those two seem to have been breakout titles. But you know, who knows, maybe this one could be, or it could just join the fray of those that are all kind of the same. Who knows? But let me know what you think about this one, and we'll see. We'll probably be seeing them here pretty soon because I know they're ramping up production. So go to a bar that has pinball machines in it, or a pinball parlor, or anything like that, or an arcade that grabs them, then you'll probably be seeing this one soon. Thanks for watching. We'll catch you on the next video.